Francis Ngannou.
Okay.
So shout out to Vaughn.
All right.
Hopefully Vaughn's watching.
What's up, Vaughn?
Because Vaughn opened my eyes to a new perspective of this whole matter, and I've been
All right.
waiting to discuss it with you. So first of all, Francis Ngannou issued a statement, very short statement, so I might as well just pull it up real quick. Backstory, right? He was involved in accidentally killing a
Fatality.
17-year-old girl, yeah, in Africa, with it was a motor vehicle accident. So basically, he issued this statement. Everybody's been waiting for it, and Francis says, "From the very beginning, I have been by the family's side, offering support, comfort, and deepest condolences during this time. I've met with them privately to share in their grief, and I will continue to stand with them every step of the way. I carry their pain with me, and my unwavering thoughts and support remain with them as they face this heartbreaking loss. Um, he's currently unable to discuss details of the accident as an investigation is ongoing. He's accused of striking the woman with his motor vehicle while she was walking in Yaoundé, Cameroon during Easter weekend. According to the reports, Ngannou immediately took the woman to the hospital where she passed away before undergoing surgery. Ngannou is said to have covered all of the family's medical expenses."
Hmm.
Um, so that's his statement. Obviously, he can't say much, and there's not much to make off of that. What I want to go back to is the incident.
Okay.
Vaughn says it's ironic how he picked her up and started moving her and all this shit after they hit her and taking her to the hospital instead of waiting for an ambulance to come.
Okay.
I can see how that could be foul play. I guess one argument is they're in Africa. Who knows how rural it is? That's an
True.
answer for Francis.
True.
If a fucking ambulance is an hour away, you're probably going to drive it, right?
Yeah. 100%.
Right. So I guess the argument is that, like, Francis may have caused unnecessary damage. He could have messed with the crime scene by picking her up and taking her away from there and taking her to the hospital. Also, the part about how everybody's saying, like, he's been with her and he's paid for all the medical expenses. There's an argument too, and it's been an underlying thought in my mind that I didn't voice last week, but it's kind of like, is he doing that because of guilt and you're trying to kind of like cozy up to the family? Because I mean, you could go to jail depending on how this whole thing unfolded for murder. It
Yeah.
doesn't mean you had to do it intentionally. If you had alcohol in your system, if you were on your phone, that is it's unforgivable by law. It's not for me to say. And part of me thinks there's this positivity spin going on, and it's a little dangerous. You know what I mean? We got to hold a man accountable for his actions. And it doesn't matter how much money you spent saving the girl, depending on what happened, how that whole thing unfolded.
Yeah. I would say like if I'm trying to put myself in that position, what would I do? And I want to really give him the benefit of the doubt just because of what he's been through in his life. Um, I would picture, if I hit somebody, you're reacting, right? You're not really like, oh, let me see how long the ambulance is going to get here. Like, if I could take you to the hospital and it's X amount of time there, I'm going to try to take you there. If he just dropped her off and like nobody knew, I may have a whole different outlook on how I see it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking like if I hit you, I can't pick you up. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna have to wait for the ambulance. But if it was, someone young that I could pick her up and carry and put her in my car, I think I would do that.
Mm-hmm.
And
Okay.
I don't think that's like ill intent. I think I also would try to pay for the medical bills.
Right.
Now, if he's trying to go about it where it's a little like grimy, and like hey, don't say telling the family like hey, just don't say anything. I'm gonna make sure I cover everything. I don't know that side of the story.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like I said, I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt that that's not the case. That
Yeah.
you just saying, hey, I'm paying for everything. Let me know how I can help out with, like it was a true accident. Like he
Yeah.
wasn't purposely trying to run over somebody.
Wasn't purposely, but like I mentioned, if you had alcohol in your system, if you were on your phone, it doesn't matter about your intent. Unfortunately,
And some of that
even if
hasn't come
you,
out.
yeah, and
And
it's like,
some of that hasn't come out yet.
yeah, and it's like, I hate to say it, but it's like, even if you did lose your son, that doesn't come into play here, you
Yeah.
know? And I think people are sensitive to Francis right now because of that. I just want to read you Vaughn's comments because, he's your boy, so might as well.
Sure.
Um, and he's a loyal loyal. He always comments and shit, shares his takes, and I appreciate it.
Yeah.
So let me see what Vaughn said. Let me see here. Okay, so he says, so she died, then they performed surgery, and he took her fatally injured body to the hospital on a motorcycle. And so Vaughn was saying, like, he thinks that, like, she was dead, and they're claiming that they, like, were gonna perform surgery. I was like, it sounds like she was alive when she made it to the hospital. She passed away before the surgery.
That's how it sounds.
That's how it sounds. And then I told him, though, I said, but with that said, it could be a positive spin on a potentially much more tragic ending to the story, which is why an investigation is still ongoing.
Mm-hmm.
And then he said, exactly. And then this is actually where some of the other developments came in. So I actually took a screenshot. I Googled, how fast do you have to be going to hit someone and kill them in a car, right? And it says the average risk of death for pedestrians reaches 10% at an impact speed of 23 miles an hour. So 10% chance of death at 23 miles an hour. 25% chance of death at 32 miles an hour. 50% of death at 42 miles an hour. 75% chance of death at 50 miles an hour. 90% chance of death at 58 miles an hour. My point being, if Francis was going anything above 40 miles an hour, it's a 50-50 whether she was murdered on site.
Mm-hmm.
And so that proves Vaughn's point of being like, was she killed before, like, when he even was taking her to the hospital? And again, is there spins being put out there?
Like I said,
we don't know. All speculation.
I'm definitely, more on this, like I said, benefit of the doubt. Like, if I hit somebody and I don't know if they're alive or dead, bro, my initial reaction, you're not thinking, you're reacting. Picking you up, I'm putting in your car, let's go. Okay, are you okay? Are you awake? You know what I mean? Like, doing all that. Go to the hospital, like, she hasn't responded, blah, blah, blah. Please try to save her. Like, I'm probably frantic as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then they come out and say, she's already passed away. Like, that's the only thing I can envision.
Yeah. So I guess one question is, like, was she alive when she arrived to the hospital? We would like to know specific answers to these questions, like, when she arrived, was she alive or not? You know what I mean? Also, I want to just put it out there because this is what I'm thinking with the speed. If you're going 20 miles an hour, I feel like you can dodge somebody. It's 20 miles an hour, right? If you're paying attention, you can dodge somebody, so to speak. Now, if you're going like around 42 to 50, right? That's 58. That's when it becomes harder to dodge someone.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a high chance of death at that rate. So my thing is, like, if you're going 25 miles an hour, which is a low chance of killing someone and them surviving, you probably would have dodged her. I have a suspicion, in a way, you were going fast and hit her. Because if you weren't going fast, that's the whole reason against speeding, right? Is don't speed, you can hit people. You got to be able to maneuver on the road. And usually if you hit something, you're speeding.
Yeah.
Or not paying attention or inebriated.
If there's no alcohol involved and there's like you said too, the cell phone can be a big distractor and shit and is not okay. I can count countless amount of times that I've almost been in like, oh my God, I almost hit somebody. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like on accident, like, oh my fucking God, like, you're shook to your core, like, fuck, that could have ruined my life, their life. Or instances too, like where I've walked in the street, like, dude, what the fuck? You almost hit me and shit,
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, bro. This is it. We don't know.
We don't know, and we're just talking about it, right? I feel like it's good. We're just making content, so to speak. But my thing is to like I've also had those bumps, right? But for me, it's only a bump. It's always like I have rear-ended somebody. I've been like at a stoplight, like a right turn, and I was like on my phone, foot off the brake accidentally, and boom, I just you know what I mean? It's one of those.
I'll give you a good example,
but nothing crazy.
I'll give you a good example. The other day, maybe like a month ago, I was pulling out, right, and I didn't pay attention on the left side. I was in an alley.
Mm-hmm.
And there was right when I was about to pull out, a bike sped. It wasn't a girl, but a guy on a bike, like, went right past me. Like, I was like, oh my God.